Hello, hello, all. Thank you for joining us again on the Almost Brothers podcast. Hey, will you do us a favor? If this podcast has meant something to you and encouraged you, will you consider becoming a monthly supporter? You could do $3, $5, $8, or $10 a month. What this does is this helps financially support the podcast so that we can continue to put out content and help better serve you. So if you would, down in the show notes, you can click the link, support, and become a monthly member. We love you. New episode coming your way. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Almost Brothers podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about how do you handle it after you have a major breakthrough in your life spiritually, and the enemy seems to attack you directly after. Coming up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Almost Brothers podcast. What's up, Jeremiah?
What's up?
How you doing?
Man, I'm good. How are you doing?
Feels weird looking at you from this angle.
We kind of moved a little bit.
Yeah. It's weird.
I'm not sure if this is my good side or not.
It is. Every side's your good side.
Oh, man.
Am I going to have a crink in my neck looking that way, though? Like, oh, man.
Maybe.
How's Jordy doing?
Jordy's, he's well fed.
Yes. He's still full grown.
Yeah, fat boy.
Oh, gosh. Needs to be on that keto diet. Man. I'm a little bit excited for this episode because I feel that there's going to be some breakthroughs.
Yeah.
Just by talking and just by getting into this subject. So I'm a little bit excited. But on today's episode, we also have our beautiful wives.
Yes.
How are y'all doing?
Good. Fantastic.
Good. Y'all, let me make sure my phone's off here. What we're going to talk about today is just what comes after that breakthrough. What comes after that moment that you feel a release and you've really been struggling with something and you give it to God and you say, God, it's yours. And you feel just so great and you feel like a weight's been lifted off your shoulders. But then almost instantly, almost the second you step out of the service or out of wherever you were at when it happened, the enemy seems to attack you, whether it's with doubt, whether it's with people around you just coming at you that in a different way. You know, the enemy kind of, he's always up to his same ways, but he'll switch it up on you. You know, if you're struggling with one thing and you get a breakthrough in that, here he comes with something completely different. So just how do you combat that and just how do we see that coming and be able to stop it at the head and stop? Because I know for me, you know, it seems like every time I give a message directly that evening, the enemy starts attacking me with doubt. Like, oh, nobody really, it really didn't affect anybody. That seed really wasn't planted. Like you didn't talk about this or that or this or that. And you really missed out. Like you didn't do a good job. Like, and I start doubting myself, you know, so, and I know it happens with all of us, you know, in our everyday walk, you know, so how do you guys combat that? Because I know that we all struggle with those type of things.
Yeah. I mean, I know that just after our last podcast, you know, I know it was a good one, you know, it felt good. And, you know, we talked about some really good things, but, like immediately leaving, you know, I felt a little drained and it just seemed like there was things that came up that evening. And then even, you know, in the days to come that were just really making me question whether or not I believed the things that I was just speaking.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was in there saying these things, and I know it happens with other people and preachers a lot where they'll preach a message and it may be for them in that minute, but they'll really get tested on it as soon as, you know, the next day or whatever. And I don't know how you can even really be prepared for that. I mean, obviously you gotta know it's one of the things where if you know it's coming, you need to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
I was talking with my wife last night. We were driving around and I said, it's kind of like when you're playing basketball or volleyball or a sport or whatever. If you know what the opponent is going to do, you can prepare for that and you can be ready.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not always going to, you know, we always are going to win because we're on the winning side, but there's going to be small defeats in there daily because we're not always victorious with the way we handle things.
Yeah.
You know, we some days get down on ourselves and we don't, you know, believe in that that resurrection power that is within us, you know, we just kind of forget about that.
Right.
And we try to do it in our own strength and stuff. And I think that's where we really come up short.
Oh yeah. And I think sometimes we look at the people around us with such a high bar, and we get upset. We get upset when those people don't reach that bar. And it's because they don't know how to. You know, we don't. Sometimes when my wife comes to me with a problem, you know, or she's upset or something, and you know, the enemy's really attacking her, but it's something that I don't struggle with. So it's like, man, how do I comfort her in a way that I don't know how? I'm not equipped to do it, you know, and like you said, I try to do it in my own strength. I try to do it instead of going to prayer and battling in prayer for. I try to do it, and I respond to it, and it's always the worst way to respond. So I think that we do sometimes, we expect those, especially out of our close loved ones, we expect them to be able to make us feel better when it's something that they don't even know how to even make us feel better, you know, because they might not struggle in that type of way or in that certain thing.
I agree. No, I think, I don't know when it comes to men, but I know for women, you know, we always compare ourselves, like, and that can be a horrible, like, just a thought. I have to catch a thought and the enemy's attacking me. Like, I can compare myself to, you know, Bible scholars on Facebook or, you know, social media and how women look. And I'm just like, I'm not even compared. Like, I'm sitting here comparing myself and I can't add up to that. And so instantly I know that's the enemy. And as soon as I catch it, I have to immediately just, you know, tell myself, like, I know who I am in Christ, and I know how he made me and who I am. And that's just me. But
I know that's one thing that with you has always been kind of a hump to get over, is that comparison of other women, you know, and, you know, she thinks, oh, I'm not as beautiful as I used to be, or I'm not as in shape as I used to be, or whatever. And it's like, I don't know how to make her feel better. Like, you know, I'll just stop, you know, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, I love you. Like, you know, I'm still to this day more in love with you than I was before, but that doesn't really make her feel better. Like, I could say that all day, and that doesn't really stop those feelings that she has, you know. So instead of going to God and saying, please, like, give this confidence to my wife, I try to do it, you know. Babe, stop thinking like that. That's stupid. And that doesn't help the situation at all.
yeah. Right. And for me, which we've been together for several years, so I already know.
Y'all pray for me.
But I am always to myself holding it in. I would rather hold it in until the very last second instead of telling him or telling, you know, anyone, my close friends or family. I don't know why. That's just, I guess because I'm so stubborn that I want to control it. I want to control everything. I want to control my feelings. I want to control how I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. I want to solve the problem. And I think, you know, that's another thing. I'm just stubborn. I know God's probably like, if she would just quit and just give it over to me, lay it all down, like, and not have a single worry, that I would take care of everything. And it's something I always have to tell myself, that I know I'm on, you know, I know he will work it out when the time is right. Yeah. And so, but you always do a good job.
I try.
Yeah, you try.
I try, but sometimes you just feel like you're stumbling around and don't know how to handle the situation, and you feel so impotent in that. And you're like, this is not helping. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's like I'm making it worse and worse.
And it gets frustrating as a man in that, because we're fixers.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we want to just take control of the situation and fix it, make it better.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not possible for us to just make it better.
Yeah.
You know, and we talked earlier about how sometimes it's easier to relate to someone who's going through something we've been through.
Yeah.
And maybe we've been through it and we don't realize that we were in the same, we just aren't seeing it that way.
Yeah.
But I would just, as scripture came to mind as we started this, and it's in 2 Corinthians, and it says that, it says, for the God of all comfort who comforted us in our affliction, so that we may be able to comfort those who are in any affliction with the comfort which we ourselves were comforted by God. So in any situation, it doesn't have to just be a similar situation. It doesn't have to be something we've walked through and had victory in or whatever to be able to show compassion to somebody. We can show compassion in any situation. And that's something that's just really not within me at this point. I'm just gonna be real right now. It's not. And so I guess what we need to be talking about is, how do we get to that point?
Yeah.
What do we do? What are some steps we can take to grow in that area?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very good. Sorry, I'm quiet tonight.
You are very quiet.
Good.
Well, I was just gonna say, this is the reason why we're doing this podcast, is because Missy Dale is going through this right now. This kind of goes off subject a little bit, but I spoke Wednesday night, and it was so amazing. Like, I know that's what I'm called to do. Like, God programmed me. That is it. And back in 2000, I think it was 12, he spoke to me and he said, you know what? You're going to speak to broken women.
Yeah. And
at the time, I was like, God, okay, I'm believing you for this, but I don't see how this is going to happen. And in 2012, I was a youth pastor, and my ex-husband was a pastor. And, I was in a situation where I was married for almost 20 years, and I didn't realize that it was a very abusive relationship. And I mean, it was not physical. He did not lay his hands on me, but there's a ways you can be abused that's not physical. It was very emotional. It was even spiritual abuse. I mean, he would use scriptures to get his way with things, and he would beat me down and tell me I'm nothing. And, you get to the place where you just believe that. But I thought that was normal.
Yeah.
That's what, you live with. And then I ended up being a drug addict. And I hope my babies aren't listening to this. But I mean, it was a broken before it started. And anyways, God is telling me I'm gonna send you to broken women. And I thought, God, how are you going to be able to use this? And 2012 was like the beginning, and I went through like medical issues, like one right after the other. I mean, it was a time where I was blind for like months, where I had to lay on a couch. It was right after Max was born, and I couldn't even take care of him. And it was like one thing after another. I had knee surgery, and then I had the eye issue, and then Max wasn't even supposed to make it survive, but he did, praise God. And then I find out, we live in a small town, and my husband was addicted to drugs, and it was a very public destroying, of a church, and it was my home church. And I was told by a denomination, you're not welcome in your home church anymore, and I felt so lost and alone. And I hear God saying you're going to talk to broken women, and I'm like, how are you going to be able to use this? Because I'm just down, and I feel like I'm nothing. And but Wednesday night, it was like God prepared this message in me, and it talks about John chapter 5, where there's a man at the pool of Bethesda, and he was an invalid for 38 years, and there's so many times where we are invalid.
Yeah.
We are just like that man going, God, I love you, and I still had a relationship with him, but I was broken into so many different pieces, and by the time my marriage was broken up, I mean, I was so low, and I'm like, God, what? You told me you're gonna make me into the next Beth Moore, and here I am, like nothing. And anyways, I mean, I had prophecies over me at IHOP, the International House of Prayer, and this Korean lady, I could barely hear her, like, understand her, and she like spoke over me and said, you're gonna go to broken women. She had no clue. This was in 2000. think it was 17 because we were dating at the time. And she's like, you know, you write, have journals, and she's like very broken English, and she's like, they're gonna turn into books, and I see like thousands of women, you being able to talk to him, and God had to take me on a journey, because in order to speak to broken women, I had to be a broken woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in order to go beyond that, I had to learn what it meant to stand up again. And, you know, you look at the invalid, and God said, do you want to be made whole? And he gave us all the excuses and all these things. And he said, I don't have a man. I don't have anybody. I'm down to nothing. But he didn't realize he was talking to the man that made him, that could save him. And, you know, and Jesus did something that didn't seem very compassionate. And he didn't seem like that loving. He said something that he couldn't even do. He said, get up.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we want to, you know, talk to people that are broken, or, you know, like with, you know, spouses. You don't know what to do in that situation. The most loving thing you can do is say, you know what, let's get up from here. Yeah. And you know what? We may don't want it and explode in anger or something like that, but I'm telling you, that is the most loving thing to do, is say, you know what? I understand. I see you, because Jesus said in the scriptures, it says that he saw him and he knew he'd been there a long time. Yeah. But even then, he said, get up, rise up, take up your mat. It's not about what happened to you. You know what? You are not your past, but I've given you a future. Yeah. You are not your shame, but I have told you in Romans 8:1, therefore there is no condemnation. And so, you know, you speak to people, you got to be real. You got to be loving. And the most loving thing you can do is say, get up. Yeah. That is not who you are. Yeah. People may be saying things against you. You may be working with somebody that you can't stand, and you come home distraught and upset. But what you have to do is you got to get up again and say, you know what? No. Yeah. I'm going to be that light. I'm going to kill them with kindness. I'm not going to let this defeat me. And I'm speaking to myself, because I'm telling you, exactly why the podcast is even here on this subject tonight, because I came in, I'm not even kidding, they said, how are you? And I'm like, I think I got back on the mat. And anyways, and I'm supposed to speak on Wednesday night, and I told Jeremiah, I was like, there's no way I should be speaking on this, because I laid back down. I preached Wednesday to get up, and by Monday I'm laying back down.
Well, because sometimes the hardest thing is what comes after that. Mm-hmm. It's all you know, so everything after getting up is unknown, and it's scary. It
is so scary.
Yeah.
I mean, when have you been bound for so long? Like, I think I was married for 20 years, and then I have been so mean to Jeremiah, and I got to apologize to him, because, I come home upset, and I'm like, wanting to spew out poison to him because I'm mad. And so who are you going to take it out on? Those you love.
Ooh, amen.
And Ben wasn't around, so it was Jeremiah. But
so I mean, after Ben?
Oh man, you get a warning shot. Oh, you walk in.
Usually as soon as I get home, Ben's he was at the Jeep.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I get home, and that's why I said that. Yeah. But anyways, I will say, whenever I was at my lowest, this man was there.
Yeah.
And he did not know what went on the 20 years, and he still to this day doesn't know the whole story of what, and it doesn't need to be said. I don't want to glorify the past, because I'm going on to the future. But he spoke life to me. Yeah. I mean, I was a mess. I was low. And, some people may have met me like today and still think, she's pretty insecure. She's, got her head down a little bit, but you don't know how I was.
Yeah.
It's just like worlds different, but there's still hope, because there's still more moving forward, and that's what I plan on doing. But he spoke life to me, and there were days where I was, depressed in bed for days. He would not even know, and he'd come and he'd call or he'd text. He was like, you know what, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Yeah. And he would speak those words, and there was something in my spirit that rose up, because you know what, that was foreign to me.
Yeah.
I was told I was nothing
opposite.
without
Yeah.
a man, and he was telling me I was everything with Jesus. So, though your words are powerful,
Yeah.
and you have words that can speak to someone's core issues and that can bring life to them, be careful what you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm bad at anger. I want to like attack with words, but I'm telling you, your words have power.
Yeah.
Be careful with what you say, because I mean, I'm here today because of Jesus, but I'm here today because Jeremiah believed in me.
Yeah.
And so I'm thankful for that.
And you know, kind of
Okay.
where we started was, you know, how do we rebound for, you know, or how do we prepare after we've overcome something or after we've had a breakthrough? And I think that I know that the enemy is aware of our breakthroughs and he's aware of our potential. You know, I know my wife hates that word, but he sees what we can do when we're on fire and we're with people who are like-minded and in one accord. And he knows if that train gets rolling, he's not going to be able to stop it. Yeah. And so he'll try to get you almost immediately. I mean, as soon as you stand up, he's going to be right there with the leg sweep.
Yeah.
You know, Danielson.
Oh
sweep the leg.
God, that
But
2 seconds, man.
But no, for real. I mean, he knows that, man, with those first 24, 48 hours, whatever,
Yeah.
are crucial.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want any momentum going in that direction. He wants to kill it before it begins. And we have to be also aware that our adversary is very intelligent.
Yeah.
He's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
And he is strategic, and he is we don't give him enough credit.
Yeah.
Yes, he's defeated. Yes, we know who wins this battle, but he is very strategic and he is very smart.
Yeah.
And if he can shut something down before it gets rolling, then it's over. You know, it takes very little effort to, you know what I mean, to stop at the beginning. So I think that's why sometimes when we have a breakthrough and we have something good like that happen in us, that we receive that attack almost immediately.
Yeah.
I think you got to be careful. Like, you know, exactly what Jeremiah was saying. It's immediate, but sometimes he's very strategic.
Yeah.
He's going to catch you when you're not looking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he has a specific battle plan for each individual. You know, the way he attacks me is not going to be the same way that he attacks Jeremiah. But I mean, for me, like after I spoke, I felt like, oh wow, I passed this. You know, I can do this. I was walking in victory. I was like excited, and you know, went through. Wednesday night I spoke, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And I mean, was speaking to him like it's Miracle Monday. We're going to, you know, see great things, signs and wonders. And then I was cooking supper and all of a sudden it was like, bam, right into a wall. Why? Because I stopped waiting for it, bracing for it. I was not prepared at that time. And I think we have to live a life that we have our armor on at all times.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to have our head covered, and it's not enough to just do one piece. You got to have all of them working together because he's strategic and he knows when you're not looking, and he knows when you're down, and he knows when you're vulnerable, and he's going to, you know, send those darts and those arrows. And there's sometimes where, you know, God will put somebody on your heart to pray for them because they may be under an onslaught of an attack or whatever. Be quick to pray for them in those moments. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I've just felt like that in my spirit. You know, we gotta be sensitive to the Spirit. We've got to be obedient. It's not time for us to be sissified Christians and just think someone else is going to do it or not feel like our prayers are being heard. But guys, we got to be in front of the throne room at all times and praying daily, hourly, minute. We got to have that connection going because we are living in the last days and the enemy is out there and he's raging. And, you know, I don't think we talk about it enough, you know? I don't know. I just want to say amen to Jeremiah, I guess.
Amen, brother. Amen. You have something?
I did, but I kind of went
Okay,
blank.
that's fine. You can think about it some more. Yeah, I find that a lot of times the enemy will come at us and we accept that defeat because, you know, just talking about the man who was invalid for 38 years. Once you get up, now it's up to you to get to where you need to go. You know, before that, he had people carrying him everywhere, had people taking care of him and getting the stuff that he needed. Now you got to do it. It's a little tough. Now I got to go get what I need. Now I got to walk to where I need to go, you know? And it's like, for that long, I can imagine walking again and his lungs not being as strong as they need to be. So just walking from place to place, it's a little bit harder. And I can imagine him just going, man, it was a little bit easier being on that mat. It was a little bit simpler. I didn't have to do all this. Now it's hard for me to breathe, and I don't have people taking care of me left and right. And I think that's how we get. It's like we get a breakthrough and we go, man, maybe it was a little bit easier on the other side. It was a little bit easier sitting in that darkness than it is out in the light. Now people are looking at me. Now people are expecting something out of me. Now I've got to live up to where I'm at now. I've had this breakthrough, so now I've got to move. There's nowhere else to go but forward. I was in the lowest. I couldn't get any lower, so
Right.
and it gets comfortable and it gets easy. And we all know somebody that loves being a victim. That loves it because it's easy. You got people feeling bad for you, and you need help with this, you need help with that. It's hard being a victor because when you're a victor, you've got a bullseye on your forehead, and the enemy is directed right at you. If you're just low and quiet and defeated all the time, I ain't got to worry about them. They're defeated.
Right.
So sometimes we get so used to being down and used to being the victim and used to being on the mat, and it's nice down here and I'm getting taken care of. And it's so much easier. So after we get that breakthrough, we're looking, where can I get defeated? Please, please. Like, I want to go back. I want to go
Right.
back. I want that mat again.
Yeah, because it's familiar. There's pain in recovery.
Yeah.
You think about like an injury. When I tore my meniscus and I had to have surgery, the initial tearing of it was one thing. I was, had to be, I couldn't walk very much, and it was just sore. And then when I had the surgery done, after that, I had to go through physical therapy. But in order to use my knee again, I had to work it. And that working hurt worse than the initial injury.
Yeah.
And we forget about that. There is pain in that recovery. But God has called us to be victorious, the title of the message that I feel like when I speak sometime is walk it off.
Yeah.
Walk it off. That's same with your victory. It's going to hurt a little bit. It's going to feel foreign a little bit. But I'm tired of being the victim.
Yeah.
I'm tired of being what my past wants to say. And I know there's people out there, even those that are victims, they don't want to be that way.
Yeah.
But it's time, like I said, and the most compassionate thing we can do to someone who has that victim mentality is say, get up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get up. Do you believe what the word of God says or not?
Yeah.
Do you want to be well?
Yeah.
And there may be some that'll be like, nope, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But there may be one that is in the multitudes, just like Jesus saw in Bethesda. There's multitudes of victims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was one that wanted to be whole.
Yeah.
And so we need to rise up and share the love of Jesus and be willing to say, do you want to be well?
Yeah. Man, I know that was one thing when I got hurt that my wife did is, I started getting depressed and down, and she's like, no, let's get up. Let's go. Yes, this sucks. Like, what are we going to do? And she was the one that took the horse by the reins.
Ooh, but boom, ching.
Oh, we had a good one.
That's a good
Hey,
one.
all
That was a
right.
good one. I think in your case, it might have been the dog by the collar.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, a horse. Yeah, no, I ain't trying to do out there no horses or nothing like that. But she really was. She was the one that hey, let's get you signed up for school and let's get you going like you've been wanting to do forever, And she's the one that went out and signed me up for school and got the FAFSA done. And she's the one that went out and got the job and made sure we were financially taken care of while I was hurt. She was the one making sure the kids were getting to school, because it was hard for me to even get up. So it really is awesome to have a partner that can look at you and say, look, like we're better than this. We're going to get through this. Let's go. Like, let's get up and let's get going. Because sometimes you need that. You need that slap in the face, like, hey, wake up. Let's go. Let's go. We don't have time to sit here and cry about it, sit here and baby ourselves in a corner. Like, let's go, But sometimes I know I got mad a couple of weeks ago at my wife. She's looking at me like, it seems like you're piercing right through my.
I am.
Because we was having a discussion.
I don't even remember it.
Usually don't. Usually my words just don't seem to make it to your ears. But we're having a discussion because, she was upset because, she'd get home from work and, every now and then I didn't have dinner ready and she'd cook and she'd be doing, I told her I will collect the clothes. I will separate the clothes. I will wash the clothes. I will dry the clothes. I will put the clothes in baskets. I will not fold clothes. I will do everything else. And she gets mad. I'm like, I've done everything else. Anyway, so she was folding clothes and giving the kids baths and doing all this. And she got upset at me. And I just blew up. I'm like, babe, you don't, I want to help you with all these things. I am hurting. Like I am hurting. And I was upset because I don't think she doesn't understand that because she hasn't been through that. She doesn't understand. Sometimes it's just hard to get up. Sometimes it's just hard to go through the day. Like I'm hurting constantly. So I kind of blew up on her because again, I had this bar set in my head to where you should be supporting me this way. She didn't understand that. She didn't understand, you know, hey, he's hurting because she hasn't been through that, you know. So I want to. I'm sorry for blowing up on you. You don't remember it anyway, so
I don't.
I'm
I'm
I
used
just
to
gotta
it.
say, I love Jamie. She is awesome. You have a good helpmate because I remember things. I remember things from 5 years ago that he did.
Yeah.
You are blessed with this
yeah.
woman.
Yeah, I didn't even know her 5 years ago, and she remembers things I did.
right, like, oh my goodness, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's certain things she doesn't remember, but then she'll just drop something out, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah. I remember. It's just I don't want to remember. I don't
So
know.
is it-
I have short-term
Is it
memory loss.
selective
I think.
memory.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what
Yeah,
it is. It's
that's
not
what
short.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Or like she'll get mad because I didn't tell her. Like, oh, you didn't tell me this. I'm like, yes, I did. We had a whole conversation about it. I'll go word for word through the conversation. She's like, oh yeah, so frustrated. I'm just like, I do tell you things. You
I'm
just
a
don't."
mess in my mind. Like it's just like that's why I don't like you can just spit out whatever like topic, the color blue, go, and you're like, well, it's made of this and that, and you can use it with this other color and that, and my mind don't work like that. It don't. Like I work 8 hours and I'm just
These kids.
these kids. Oh,
I swear, like
these kids.
everything. Like,
Yeah.
like one day, like, babe, you got a couple grays in here. These kids, I swear, that has nothing to do with your gray hair.
I don't have no gray hair.
You had a couple.
No, I don't.
What you
Like
talking
these kids are like her memory. I'm like, babe, you got to start paying attention so you can remember stuff. It's like, well, I've had three of your kids, so my
Yeah.
memory ain't what it used to be. I'm like, that isn't even scientifically correct.
I'm trying to keep them alive. You're welcome.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness gracious! I don't know what she's gonna do when Lee leaves the house.
I
was
don't
like,
either because she helps me out more than
my
you.
two, yeah, that's why I'm like, hey, Lee's gonna help us out with like doing stuff up here in the office and blah. She's like, you ain't taking her. She helps me with Zay. No.
I hear you on that. I miss Kaylee
does.
so much because she was like a parent,
Yeah.
you know, for the longest. I relied on her, especially as a single mom, and now I don't have her, and I'm like,
Yeah. I know.
back.
I
Like,
know.
want to call her and say, Kaylee, can you handle this?
Yeah.
Because she's
That's what I
Come
want
and
to
get
do.
these kids, please.
these kids.
These kids. Oh man.
I'm gonna get a these kids button on
Michael's
here.
like, I put the clothes in the washer and I took them out and put them in the dryer. I'm like, Zeke could do that. And he's like, what else you want me to do?
first of all, I don't sound like that.
Now you're making me mad. My country accent's coming out.
I took them out of the washer and I took them out of the dryer. I don't.
I don't
It
know why.
sounded just like you.
I don't know why.
I thought it was identical.
Yeah.
Every
Oh, my
time
God.
I make fun of you, like even at work, I have a country accent.
I know. Am I like a 45-year-old farmer? Like, what is going on?
I don't
Oh
know.
wow.
These kids messed up her.
I don't know why I want to give you a country
I
accent so
don't-
bad.
I don't know.
It's like I have it, but it gets deeper when I talk about you and my
Yeah.
frustration.
When your frustration rises, it gets it's either ghetto or super country, one or the other. I don't know what I'm gonna get.
Yeah, and that's only when I'm really mad.
And if I see the hand start moving, like I'm in danger. Like, oh man.
That's when the Malden comes out.
Oh my goodness.
awesome.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You don't have to say nothing. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. I don't.
I don't want street Jamie.
Don't do that.
You don't want that.
Oh my goodness, man.
His dad always makes fun of me. He's like, "What did she just say?"
Oh yeah, Dad's like, she's blacker than you are. Like, Dad.
Yeah. And then when I have like a really thick Southern accent, he's like, "Oh my." He's like, "I don't know. You're gonna have to talk slower than you're already talking."
Oh my goodness. Did I tell y'all the story about when last time we went to Boston? It's way off subject, but it's awesome. I like where this is going. It's all black family. It's like everywhere you look, and we all get together and everybody's loud and talks with their hands. And then you got my wife who's super country and she starts talking and they're all just like, "Oh my God, Frank, come over here." Come over here. Oh, say it again. Say it again. So she starts talking like, "Oh my God, you're such a Southern belle."
I'm like, "Thanks."
Straight Boston accent. Like, "Oh my God, this is amazing."
I'm like, "Thanks."
Like, say it again. Oh, such a Southern belle. Michael, you got to keep this one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's man, we all fall short of that. Going back on topic.
Yeah, squirrel.
But yeah. Richard always makes fun of me. Like my mind's just like a 5-year-old. It's like, oh, what were we talking about? But yeah, and I think we all fail at that, especially with our closest family, brothers, sisters. Like my sisters, I it seems like I can never say the right thing, ever. It's like I see how beautiful and articulate and smart and funny they are, and I see them both struggling with these things, and I never know anything I try to say. It seems to make it worse. I don't know if that's me saying the wrong things or if it's on their side, them taking it wrong. Because we kind of talked about this last time. How it's harder for family to talk to one another. Maybe we're trying to encourage or tough love the other one, and it just doesn't come off right. So, how do you think? What is the best way to combat that? Of course, is pray about it, but I mean, even beyond that, sometimes we kind of need a quick answer, and we don't really have the second to pray. It's like, somebody really needs you to speak into them, and it's like, I don't know what to say in this situation.
Yeah. Hey, everybody's staring at me.
Do you have an answer on that?
Man.
That's a really tough question. No. I don't know. I fall short in this area too. I think it's really getting to the place where we are spirit filled at all times, and you look at Jesus as a perfect example because he was perfect. And, we may not be able to obtain, of course, what he did, but what he did is anything he said or he did was always in direct line from the Father. And we are allowed to have that same spirit within us. And we got to get to the place where we believe that, and with family, it is hard because a lot of times whenever we see someone struggling or we see them going through something, we operate out of emotion. Yeah. And so our words aren't seasoned with the spirit because it's got our emotion, it's got our flesh involved. And so we've got to understand that, I mean, there's a lot of times, like last night, my daughter calls me and she wants to be a teacher. That's like what I believe that's what God has gifted her with. And she all of a sudden made a switch and she's like, I think I might go into the restaurant business. And I was like, I don't know if Jeremiah even knew what was going on. I was like, okay.
It's a left turn.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I just off the cuff said, well, I hope you're not going to be a bartender. And she's like, Mom, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then so we ended up having this conversation, but it was more, I could see myself like this rising up. How could you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Yeah. You know better, blah, 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 blah. And I wasn't coming out of it as in a loving way at all. I mean, I'm pretty sure I sounded perturbed, and what did that do to my daughter? Pushed her right to it, because she's like, Mom has a problem with it, so I'm going to do the opposite of it instead of talking to her rationally.
Yeah.
And so we ended the conversation with, I just said, I agreed to disagree. Because I knew, I could tell, okay, this is not going well.
Yeah, just keep getting worse and worse.
Yes. And it's not like I want it, I feel like, God said to me that you're going to do this. I believe that she's got a communication with God and God calls her. I don't call her.
Yeah.
Mama don't call your kids.
Yeah.
You wait for God to call them. you might see their giftings, but allow God to do it. And anyways, and so I'm going to come back to her when I am in a better place. And I think that's what we got to be able to understand too. There's sometimes where we see the conversation is not going the right way. Let's end it.
Yeah.
So that I can come back when I am in a better place.
That's good.
You know, and we don't have to answer everything right then and right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, be led by the Spirit and be okay to say, you know what, I'm going to come back around when I have time to pray about it, when I can have an answer for you, and just know I'm praying for you and I'm here for you, you know, and then go to it.
Yeah.
And it's just a balance, because that kind of goes against my get up, but you know, it's just, it's a difficult place to be. I feel like I need to put a quarter in the jar because I say difficult so many times, you know.
We have an awesome jar, don't we?
Yeah. Oh yes. I always awesome. And there was something else that we
That's
always
good.
say. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's like even in service. That's what I was saying. Like, oh, that's good. Okay.
It's tough with family.
Yes.
For sure. I mean, because you'll treat a family member like you wouldn't treat a stranger or even an enemy sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I think you'd show an enemy more grace than you do a brother or a sister sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I think also, to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, is being able to see things from their point of view.
Yeah.
Try, like you said, step away. While you're away, you know, you're praying and you're trying to figure out how to respond. You also need to look at it from their side, put yourself in their shoes. And you're not going to agree with everything they do.
Yeah.
You know, but you just, and here's another thing is you can't just like turn your back on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's family, you know, you may not want to condone it or support it, but you have to support them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to be in their corner, and you have to, like I said, kind of look at it through their eyes and then figure out how to love them through that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's easier just to say, you know what, I'm going to wash my hands of this. I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
And that's not what, I don't believe I see anywhere in the Bible that tells us to do that to our family,
Yeah.
you know? And, so we just have to figure out how to deal with those situations.
Yeah.
Because just walking away is not an option, I don't believe.
And for those of y'all listening, it's okay to disagree with what someone's doing
Yes.
and still love them.
Absolutely.
I know that's a foreign concept, that if you disagree with their decisions or their lifestyle or whatever you want to call it, then you hate them.
Right.
No, I can disagree with. I have a great friend, Michael Cowart. I don't know if he listens or not, but he needs to be. He's one of my oldest friends. And we fundamentally disagree on almost every major issue in life. Mm-hmm. And that is my brother, and I love him, and he loves me, and we are always going to be
I've
friends.
got one of my best friends growing up was like that. Up, it's down. No, blue, it's black.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
He's going to argue just for the sake of arguing.
Yeah.
But like, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
that's
you.
it. And
But
it's like, it's okay to disagree. And I know my mom, it's one thing that she struggles with too. Kind of like what you were saying is she'll say, like, I'll be at the house and she'll be talking to one of my sisters and they'll say something. I'm like, oh God, here we go. And then mom will bam, pop off. I'm like, that is the worst thing to say. Like, why do you say it like that? And it's, you know, she comes back to it eventually with a better attitude, but it's, I won't say too late, but it's already started this wedge in between them. And then, you know, we do that and we say the wrong thing at that moment. And then we wonder why that person doesn't come and tell us anything. You don't ever tell me nothing.
Right.
Well, every time I do, like, you go off the hinges, you know? So I'm like, Mom, like, it's okay to disagree with it. You don't have to go off on them just right there. Just, you know,
Right.
bundle it, think about it, and then say it. You know, it's like, because they'll come to me and tell me things that they won't tell her because, and they know I disagree with it just as much as she does, but I just go about it a different way, you know, and by no means do I always do that. There's a lot of times I just go off on them, but well, don't shake your head at me.
Mm-hmm. You do.
You know how they are.
I love them. They're
Yeah, okay.
like,
Okay.
I do.
Mm-mm-mm.
You're just hard. Like, you're just so bold, and they know it. There's some times where you can be overly bold to where you make someone just be like, oh, what's Michael going to say? Or
I'm sorry.
No, I have. We both have. I have family members that are. I mean, everyone should know that, but I'm learning to not always. I don't know. I have parents that are addicts, and my sisters that are kind of distant now because some of their point of view doesn't always add up with mine, because they'll look at me and be like, oh, well, she's in church, she's goody two shoes. And I always have to remind them, like, no, you can still talk to me. Like, I'll have to call my sister, which is one of my best friends, and be like, hey, what are you doing? And it'll be very short because she's always like, I got to hurry up and get off the phone with you. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all, because she knows I love her, and, along with my parents and my other siblings. But it's always hard for them because they think, oh, well, they're judging me. And if I tell them what I went through in the day, and, they don't want to hear all of that. But I always want to be there to listen. Yeah. Same with his sisters. They're my best friends. And they'll tell me crazy stuff, and I'll be like, you shouldn't be doing that. But I know I'm here to listen and comfort them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You still want to support them. You want the best for them.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, you were the only, you were kind of like the man of the house. So you're like pointing at them, and I came in late. So I'm just like, hey.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, and I'm on the outside. Yeah. I'm the jerk. You're like, don't worry about him. Hey, guys. He's so bold. But
I think this goes for all of our family members and our friends who are, in a lifestyle that's lost. Let's just call it what it is. They're lost. And so our prayer for them should be that they would find the same, the same, awakening and that relationship that we found.
Yeah.
We should never give up, praying for them and speaking life to them when we can. And like sometimes, like you said, it's hard to even communicate with them because it always ends in some tension or a fight or whatever. There's just a lot of hurts there that haven't been dealt with or whatever's going on. But we still have to pray for them. We still need to encourage them. We still need to, desire them to get to that place where they repent and find that relationship. Because I want all my family in heaven with me.
Yeah.
Point blank. I don't want any of my loved ones.
And it might not always be like I could speak encouragement and life into them all day, but it might not be me reaching all of them. It might be a person they meet 2 years from now that, they'll just get it like that.
But they're watching you.
Yeah.
And it's the light that's in you that is repelling to them because they're in a place of darkness. And so when you're in that place, I've been in that place.
Yeah.
The last people you want to be around is somebody who is full of Jesus and love.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the last thing you want to encounter because it's convicting.
It's convicting, yeah.
And it's not you doing anything or saying anything. You're just trying to be polite and love on them. And they're just like, no. Yeah. Because it darkness and light cannot mingle. It just doesn't. So you just living like you are, they're watching and seeing. Yeah. And you're goody two shoe, whatever they need to call you is fine. Yeah. But they're watching you and it's making an impact in their life. I guarantee it.
Man, I'm so ready. I'm so ready to see your sisters and my sisters back, because like my sisters, we were partners, in this, man. They were part of the youth group and we did dramas together and they really are two of the closest people to me, your sisters, but they really are like that. And in two different ways, they're twins, but they're so different. And I have such a different relationship with both, but they really are. They've always been my right hand ladies, and they've always been there to support me and always been there, whether we agree on stuff or not. They're always there, and they're always a big part of my life. So I look forward to that day that they are in church with me, that they are, walking this walk with us. And same with your sisters, they were part of Jen was anyway, not so much Jess, but Jess started coming to church too. And it's such an amazing thing to watch, especially with them two, getting to, I'll be up on the drums and just seeing them two sitting next to each other and worshiping together. And it's like, I'm ready for that again. I'm excited for that. And I look forward to the day that happens.
Yeah.
Amen.
So any final thoughts? I don't want to
Anyone.
rush it. Dude, this is good.
Yeah,
I don't.
this was a really good episode.
I don't want to rush
I
it,
don't
but I
even know
do.
what the topic.
I do get. I do get. See, you see,
I done
the
forgot.
kids. The kids.
The kids
The
made me
kids.
forget. They're not here, but
But yeah, I don't want to rush or anything, but I got to get to practice. So
All right.
I think we need to do a part 2 to this. This
We
is a
can do
good
it.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I always leave here thinking of what I should have said. I just
Yeah.
want to put that out there.
You want to go ahead and
yeah.
write that down this time?
Exactly.
I
And
might.
We'll have a part.
I
And we'll have a part 2.
These kids part 2.
might. I'll be like, y'all, give me a minute. I gotta think of something for the next time I'm
And
on.
I'll be like, "Did you write that stuff down?" The kids, they took it. I had it written down.
They ate
but-
my homework.
Well, like
They ate my homework.
he'll tell me. He'll be like, okay, well, we're recording, and I'll get here, and 3 minutes in, he'll be like, this is the topic. So this time I made him tell me, like yesterday or something.
Yeah. It's like, that way I don't go in blind.
Yeah, I'm like, I got thanks. I'll be going in like,
Like,
It's
I love
better
you.
than crying like I was.
no.
Well, you're laughing now.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
I think we made some.
I think
And
we
I
made
think-
a break
Absolutely.
through.
Yeah.
I need that the
Need
bomb
that.
button. Man.
We need to find a drummer, don't we?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thank you everybody for joining us, man. This has been a fun one too. You know, we always love having the wives on here. We love y'all so much. You know, you're so much to us. And anyhow, remember we have church here on Sunday mornings at the Lighthouse in Dexter, outside under the tent, 8:30 in the morning, inside 10 o'clock. We love y'all. Take care.